Hello everybody, it's Jared from Virtual Bike and Board, and this is everything you need to know about the 2023 Tour de France Stage 4. Exciting day, still coming down from it. Crazy sprint at the end, which we like to see. What do we got, like 180 kilometers, mostly flat day, couple little bumps in the road. There was a category 4 climb towards the finish. The breakaway got it, not much to note there. One little intermediate sprint, we'll talk about that in a second, but yeah. Fairly straightforward day for the sprinters. I would say the most exciting part is that they finished on a car racetrack. Pretty cool. It's named after Paul Armagnac, I believe, 1962. He died in a motorsport accident and they named the racetrack after him. Something really cool about the French newspapers and the French media in general is like back in the day, they needed content, right? So rather than going on Instagram and finding a reel and hyping it up, they created events. The Tour de France was created in 1903, I believe, by L'Auto, a newspaper in France, and they needed content, so they created the tour. Gotta give it up to the French media for creating cool events to create content to put in their newspapers. It makes things exciting and fun stuff for us to watch. We're still watching the tour 120 years later. So anyways, the race. We started out super slow. A little bit about that. So 180 kilometer day, something like that, 100 plus miles, 125 miles or so. When it's a mostly flat stage and there's not that many sprints in the beginning of this tour, anyone who goes in the breakaway is going to be brought back by the peloton. So the big teams, they've got the firepower, 4 or 5 guys plus a sprinter to reel in pretty much any breakaway. So after the last few days of the tour that have been super hard, nobody really went off the front. So we see them cruising along at like 20, 21, 22, 23 miles an hour. And the funny thing about that is they're chatting, they're laughing, they're catching up. How's the family? Oh, this, that, and the other thing. We're gonna spend the winter here, there. What I'm getting at is like, go on a group ride and average 23 miles an hour. It's hard, and these guys are doing it in style. So you gotta give it to them. It just shows really how fit they are, even on an easy day like today. One intermediate sprint in the middle. Basically an intermediate sprint, you get green jersey points or sprint jersey points. I think the thing that's cool about them is that a lot of times it gives these teams some time to practice. So we saw Elpison pull up to the front, Van der Poel's doing a nice pull, Philipsen's on the back. It almost looks like a finishing sprint, but kind of in slow motion. And when I say in slow motion, they're going 40 miles an hour off the line. We know at this point in the tour, it's clear that Van der Poel has the best lead out in the peloton. Follow those two guys, because if you follow those two guys, you're going to be up there in the front. The thing that's different about like Elpison right now with Van der Poel and Jasper Philipsen versus Cav is that those two dudes are big. Basically, those two guys being big, they can muscle their way through and push guys out of the way, where Cav kind of dances his way through and bobs and weaves it. So different tactics, so maybe that's part of the reason why he's having a tough time finding the right wheel. But intermediate sprint, Philipsen takes it. Let's go to the big sprint. So awesome to see with like 20K to go, 15 kilometers to go. The race is moving at this point. They're going 30 to 35 miles an hour. Thanks to Quinn Simmons. He was on the front and he was absolutely motoring. I almost feel like if anything, he just was mad about something and wanted to get some time on TV. I don't know, but they were flying. And right before that, we had all the big teams on the front. So again, let me check some notes real quick here. Jumbo, Elpison, Quick-Step, Lotto, Astana for Cav, all the big teams are on the front, and this road was really wide, so we literally had the same as yesterday, like 4 lead-out guys and a sprinter, 4 lead-out guys and a sprinter, 4 lead-out guys and a sprinter. And what's cool about that is there's this perfect controlled chaos going down the road at 30 to 35 miles an hour, and it looks safe, it looks good. The thing is that the way that this race finished is it was a wide road, and it really came together, and they went through town, which is dangerous, especially for the GC guys, and then the road opened back up. It spit them out on a racetrack, an auto track, which was amazing, but it was wide open again. So there was a lot of chaos in the groups. So in the peloton. So basically we have 4 or 5 teams pulling everybody along at 30 to 35 miles an hour. And it was starting to get a little bit chaotic when they ramped it up to that fast. Then all of a sudden it's like they perfectly planned it, practiced it. Not really a surprise anymore. Jumbo gets in the front. Why does Jumbo get in the front? Because they want to protect Jonas Vingegaard, right? That's their GC guy, and the safest place in a bike race, especially when it's getting crazy like that, is right in the front. So they pull up in the front. Jonas is even first or second wheel a little bit here, and he's just getting through town to be safe. Once they get through the 3-kilometer line, they can drop back to way off the back because they're not going to get penalized for finishing in the back of the peloton. Before that, if you crash, your time is real. So you need to get through that 3K mark. They do it perfectly. No surprise. It was super smooth. But at this point, because they strung it out through this town and the peloton went from wide to narrow and now the roads opened up again, nobody was in control. The teams all were thrown all over the road. It was a bit of a show, if I must say so myself, and we started to see a lot of crashes. Fabio Jakobsen went down really hard. He's built like a brick house, so I don't think he even felt it, but it was crazy. Like, the camera was in the front of the peloton, the bike, everyone's coming at you, and you just see bikes getting flung off the side. It was absolute chaos. The sprint. First question is, where the hell was Wout van Aert? I didn't see him anywhere in the mix today. He wasn't even really helping to pull Jonas through town, which was surprising. I mean, maybe he just was like, it's not a day for me, and he was taking it easy, but he's not a guy to really let off the gas. Anyhow, that being said, we're going on the racetrack, and it's like turny. There was like 3 hairpins in a row, and then like a half a mile or so sprint to the finish. And it really shook things up, which I think was so exciting. It was like watching a bunch of road racers go through a crit course at absolute full gas, which is so fun to watch on TV. I was screaming at the TV, standing up, jumping up and down, which I'm sure I wasn't the only one doing that. So anyways, it's not clear who's going to win. There's no team really doing a big lead out. There's a couple of random guys from Cofidis, I believe it was, off the front. And then with 400 meters to go, I would say, they're bunched in, and Van der Poel he just pushes Biniam Girmay out of the way, literally, like, no problem, see you later. Pushes him out of the way and just boom, see you later. Philipsen perfectly on his wheel. Cav tries to get their wheel real quick, but honestly, it didn't look like he could really hold it, or he was getting boxed out a bit. Van der Poel does his signature hero pull to line. He pulls off, shoots off the front of the group, which blows my mind every time. Philipsen comes through smooth, in style for the win. I don't even think he was breathing hard. Shout out to Caleb Ewan, who was right on his wheel. I got to give him credit there. I mean, he won by less than a foot, I would say. So it was close, but I mean, at this point, that's going to be a tough lead-out train to beat. I think if there was a day for a random hero to win, it would have been today, given that the way that the finish took place on the racetrack. But yeah, I don't know. As far as sprint stages are concerned, it was an awesome finish. Tour should do some more crit racing or something in there. I mean, mix it up. We don't need to watch TV for 4.5 hours of nothing and then shout at the TV for 5 minutes. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that there's probably a better way to do that, but I like watching it at the end of the day. It's a nice way to spend a Saturday morning or whatever the hell day it is. So that was a sprint, and now for tomorrow. We're going to the Pyrenees, which is going to be awesome. 3 categorized climbed. I'm going to butcher this. Col de Soudet, 15 kilometers at 7%. That's a category 1 climb, I believe. Col de Chiri, 4 kilometers at 7%. I think that's a category 2. And then we got an HC, which is the biggest climb of the tour. Col de Marie Blanc, 8 kilometers at 8.5%. So that is going to shake the GC race up majorly. Predictions. So I'm 2 for 4, although the last 2 are pretty easy to predict with Jasper Phillips in the last 2 days. I think tomorrow I have to go Tade. I mean, if Nilsson Paulus can get off the front and breakaway on that last climb, it would be amazing. But I just don't think he has the firepower to punch with the big boys on a full climb like that, unless he goes off early and holds him off. Nielsen, I love you. You're not going to win tomorrow. Tade's going to win, and here's why. Him and Jonas are going to go up and over that last climb together. They're going to be absolutely duking it out. We might see Adam Yates there. He's riding strong. But I think when it comes down to the finish line, I think Tade cares more about winning stages than Jonas does. I think Jonas could care less, honestly. So when they go up and over that last HC climb, there's like 10K to the finish. They'll regroup. They'll kind of look at each other. Jonas will be like, I'm smarter and wiser because I won last year. Tade will sprint for the line. I'm giving it to Tade tomorrow. So if you like what you saw, give us a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button. It helps us out tremendously. And like I always say, round up for distance, round up for time. Thanks for watching.